English 4, Quarter 3, Week 1. Matatag Curriculum. For the objectives, comprehend literary texts. Use words with literal, denotative, and implied, connotative meanings in sentences. Identify visual elements using colors. Derive meaning based on the visual elements. Identify real or make-believe, fact or non-fact images. Identify multimedia elements, graphics, photographs, drawings, graphs, illustrations, icons, etc. For the content, noting important details of a story or literary text. Story grammar. True, the stories, The Story of the Rainbow, An Indian Legend, and The Magic Bahag, a story by Cheeno Sayuno. Identifying sound devices, assonance, onomatopoeia, and alliteration, and simile as a figure of speech. For the integration, we have personal and cultural identity. For day 1, read the following sentences. Observe the words in bold. With a slow swooshing, the stories fluttered from the bahag. Amazed Abyong is in awe of the beautiful bahag. In the first sentence, with a slow swooshing, the stories fluttered from the bahag. The first sentence uses onomatopoeia, where words sound like the noise being described. Amazed Abyong is in awe of the beautiful bahag. On the other hand, the second sentence uses alliteration, where two or more words begin with the same sound. Abyong and his friends danced, clapped, and stomped at the yard. Assonance is a sound device where repeated vowel sounds appear in nearby words. This lesson will focus on enhancing your ability to note important details of a literary text. Noting important details in a literary text is called story grammar. Read the following sentences and pay attention to the words in bold and in italics, using the context clues that are provided in each sentence, and circle the appropriate meaning of the highlighted words. Number 1. The events done by a main character can be presented through a first-person author's point of view, using nouns such as I, we, and us. Author's point of view refers to blank. A. It is the way the story is presented. B. The events of a story. For number 2, for the story to be properly understood, the teacher presented it in a sequential plot. She began by introducing the characters, then narrated the various events in which the characters solved a problem, and ended with how the problem was solved. Sequential plot refers to blank. A. Two or more events presented at the same time. B. The arrangement of events in a story. Number 3. After reading the story, the learners were asked to draw conclusions by examining the events in the story, the possible meaning of these events, and why these events occurred. Draw conclusions means blank. A. Making meaning out of what is not clearly stated. B. to say what will happen in the future. Number 4. To be able to draw or infer conclusions, the denotative or dictionary meaning of words used in a story must be analyzed. Denotative means blank. A. Literal meaning. B. Implied meaning. Number 5. Aside from the denotative meaning of words, the connotative meaning used in a story should also be analyzed. Connotative means blank. A. Literal meaning. B. Implied meaning. Let us now answer. For number 1, the correct answer is letter A, the way the story is presented. For number 2, it's letter B. It is the arrangement of events in a story. Next, for number 3, the answer is letter A, making meaning out of what is not clearly stated. For number 4, the correct answer is letter A, literal meaning. For number 5, it's letter B, implied meaning. Topic: Noting details of a story or literary text. Story grammar. Let's read a short literary text titled The Story of the Rainbow. Here are the guide questions. Who are the characters in the story? How was the story presented? What happened in the story? How were the events in the story narrated? What is the ending of the story? What message can you get from the story? The Story of the Rainbow, an Indian legend. Once upon a time, all the colors in the world started to quarrel. Each claimed that she was the best, the most important, the most useful, the favorite. Green said, "Clearly, I am the most important. I am the sign of life and of hope. I was chosen for grass, trees, and leaves. Without me, all the animals would die. Look out over the countryside, and you will see that I am in the majority." Blue interrupted. "You only think about the earth, but consider the sky and the sea. It is water that is the basis of life, and the clouds draw this up from the blue sea. The sky gives space and peace and serenity. Without my peace, you would all be nothing but busybodies." Yellow chuckled. "You're all so serious. I bring laughter, gaiety, and warmth into the world. The sun is yellow, the moon is yellow, and the stars are yellow. Every time you look at a sunflower, the whole world starts to smile. Without me, there would be no fun." Orange started next to blow her own trumpet. "I am the color of health and strength. I may be scarce, but I am precious, for I serve the inner needs of human life. I carry all the most important vitamins. Think of carrots and pumpkins, oranges, mangoes, and papaws. I don't hang around all the time, but when I feel the sky at sunrise and sunset, my beauty is so striking that no one gives another thought to any of you." Purple rose to her full height. She was very tall and spoke with great pomp. "I am the color of royalty and power. Kings, chiefs, and bishops have always chosen me, for I am a sign of authority and wisdom. People do not question me, they listen and obey. Indigo spoke much more quietly than all the others did, but just as determinedly, think of me. I am the color of silence. You hardly notice me, but without me, you all become superficial. I represent thought and reflection, twilight and deep waters. You need me for balance and contrast, for prayer and inner peace. And so the colors went on boasting, each convinced that they were the best. Their quarreling became louder and louder. Suddenly, there was a startling flash of brilliant white lightning. Thunder rolled and boomed. Rain started to pour down relentlessly. The colors crouched down in fear, drawing close to one another for comfort. Then Rain spoke. You foolish colors, fighting among yourselves, each trying to dominate the rest. Do you not know that Creator made you all? Each for a special purpose, unique and different. Creator loves you all. Join hands with one another and come with me. Creator will stretch you across the sky in a great bow of color, as a reminder that Creator loves you all, and that you can live together in peace, a promise that Creator is with you, a sign of hope for tomorrow. And so, whenever Creator has used a good rain to wash the world and a rainbow appears in the sky, let us remember to appreciate one another. Let us now answer the questions. Who are the characters in the story? How was the story presented? Very good. The characters are the colors green, blue, yellow, orange, purple, indigo, and the rain. The story is presented as a dialogue among the colors, with rain acting as a mediator. What happened in the story? How were the events in the story narrated? The colors argued about which one was the best and most important. Their quarrel was interrupted by Rain, who reminded them that they were all unique and created for a special purpose. The events are narrated with a moral tone and vivid descriptions of the colors' qualities. What is the ending of the story? What message can you get from the story? You're right, the story ends with the colors joining hands to form a rainbow, symbolizing unity, peace, and hope. The message is that everyone has a unique purpose, and harmony is achieved by appreciating and respecting one another's differences. Did you like the literary text we read? Why or why not? Let's work together and summarize the literary text we had read. Give the title of the story, the author, what was the author named, was he part of the story? Sequential plot. What did the color green, blue, yellow, orange, purple, and indigo said? And so as well with the rain. What is the message of the story? Do you know someone who resembles any of the characters? Let us now answer. For the title of the story, we have The Story of the Rainbow. For the author, it is unknown. It is also an Indian legend. What is the message of the story? You're right. Everyone is unique and has a purpose. Unity and harmony come from respecting others. Simile, a figure of speech uses as or like to compare or describe two things, objects, events, or people. Example, I am like the color blue because I am calm always. The beautiful Bahag is as bright as the radiant rainbow. What two objects were compared in the sentence? You're right, the beautiful Bahag and the radiant rainbow were compared. What description was given to the beautiful Bahag? Very good. The Bahag was described as bright as the radiant rainbow. What word was used to compare the two objects? Exactly. The word as was used to compare the two objects. Which sound device was used in the sentence? Onomatopoeia, alliteration, or assonance? Why? You're right, alliteration because of three words begin with letter B and another two words begin with letter R. Look at this picture before reading the literary text. The story is entitled The Magic Bahag by Cheeno Sayuno. Here are the guide questions. What is the title of the story? Who is the author of the story? Where did the story take place? When do you think the story happened? How did the story begin? How did it end? What 6 events are the most important events of the story? Illustrate these events by drawing boxes and arranging them correctly. Let us now answer the questions. Did the bahag really have magic? You're right. No, the bahag did not really have magic. What magic did it have? Exactly. It inspired Abyong to be proud of his identity. Who had the real magic? You're right. Abyong had the real magic. For day 3. Developing a simple story grammar, 30 to 40 minutes. Your class will be divided into 4 groups. Each group shall develop a basic story grammar of the text you have read. The diagram on the next slide serves as an example. Indicate the title and author of the story, the characters, plot or events, and the summary. Let us now answer. The title and author of the story is The Magic Bahag by Cheeno Sayuno. Characters, we have Abyong or Iyon, the main character, a young boy adjusting to his new home and school while learning to embrace his identity. Next is Nana, the mother, Abyong's supportive and loving mother who encourages him to embrace his culture. The third one is Tata, the father, Abyong's father who gives him the magic bahag to boost his confidence. Number 4, Abyong's friends in Pasil, his childhood friends who share memories of songs and games. Next is John, Carlo, and classmates, Abyong's new friends in Tabuk who accept and admire him for his individuality. For the summary, the magic bahag follows Abyong, a boy from Pasil who struggles with leaving his hometown and adjusting to life in Tabuk. Initially, Abyong is hesitant to wear his traditional bahag to school, fearing ridicule, but his father gifts him a magic bahag to boost his confidence. Wearing it, Abyong becomes an instant success, making friends, excelling in class, and even becoming a star basketball player. He realizes the bahag isn't magical, but that his true magic lies in his self-confidence and pride in his identity. Embracing who he is, Abyong reconnects with his culture and confidently faces his new life. For activity number 2, each group will present their outputs in front of the class. Each group shall take note which details are not present in their output but are present in the outputs of the other groups. For day 4, here are the following additional concepts that relate to comprehending literary text. What is noting details? Noting details is the ability to answer who, what, where, when, why, and how questions about a literary or narrative text that has been read. The elements of a literary or narrative text are known and understood by answering the questions. Remember that A. Who questions us about the characters in the story, which are either people, animals, or inanimate objects. What questions ask about the events in the story? It includes the actions done by the characters. Where questions ask about the place, setting of the story, or the place where the events in a story happened. When questions ask about the time, setting of the story, or the time the events in a story happened. Why questions ask about the reasons why certain events in the story happened. It is also used to ask to understand the implied message of the story. How questions ask about the methods or ways the events happened in the story. Abyong says, what details are to be noted when reading a literary text? First, we have the title. The title is the short phrase or sentence that the author gives as identity to his work. It serves as a name for the literary or narrative text. The title gives the readers a sense of what the literary or narrative text is all about. Next is the author. The author is the person who conceived of and wrote the literary text. An author assists us in understanding ourselves and the events that occur around us. The author's work informs, entertains, inspires, and challenges us. Next is we have setting. The setting refers to the time, place, or environment in which the events in the literary text occur or unfold. When the author does not explicitly state the setting, it can be inferred from the characters' dialogues or actions. It can also be implied by the author's description of the story's environment. Next is plot. The plot is the arrangement of the events that makes up the story. It is also the series of events that allows the story to unfold. Sequential plot is an arrangement of events in which each event causes the next event to occur. It is a plot that unfolds chronologically, from first to last. This allows the reader to follow the character's journey over time and see how the character grows and changes. Abyong says, author's point of view. The author's point of view is the author's way of deciding who is telling the story to whom. It is the person narrating the story. The author's point of view can be in the first person, second person, or third person. The first person point of view is usually third person told by a character in the story. It uses keywords such as I, me, or we. The second person point of view uses a narrator to address the reader. Its keywords are you, your, or yours. Lastly, the third person point of view is told by a narrator that is not in the story. Thus, uses keywords like he, she, or the names of the characters in the story. Genre. The genre is the way literary texts are grouped. They can be grouped as either fantasy or reality. A fantasy is a story with events or characters that could not exist in real life, while reality is a story with events that can happen in real life. Reality narratives can either be fiction or non-fiction, while a fantasy is always fiction. A fiction is a made-up story that tells about things that could happen in real life. The characters may be like real people or can be imaginary. A non-fiction is a true story about a person or an event that took place in real life. It has facts that can be checked and proven, and the author is an expert of the information narrated. Next is the theme. Identify the theme of the literary text. The theme is the main idea of all the events happening in the story. It is the message of lesson that the author wants the reader to understand from the story. Examples of themes are about bravery, love, honesty, selflessness, or the will of a person to survive. Summary. A summary is a shortened version of a literary text made by the reader. It includes the main characters and what they wanted to happen. This is followed by the problem or the conflict met by the characters, how they resolve the problem. A summary usually ends with the solution of the character's problem. For the formative assessment, what do you think is the story all about? What message does the author wants you to understand through the story? Did you like the story? Can this story happen in real life? Let us now answer. Here are the possible answers. For number 1 question, what do you think is the story all about? The story is about embracing one's identity and culture while overcoming fears of judgment and adapting to change. What message does the author wants you to understand through the story? You're right, the author emphasizes the importance of self-confidence, pride in one's heritage, and how inner strength can help us face challenges in life. Did you like the story? Can this story happen in real life? Yes, the story is heartwarming and relatable, and it can happen in real life because many people experience similar challenges when adjusting to new environments.